this chapter, we talked about creating and developing fictional worlds. We started at the foundation, with key concepts like the difference between world and setting, and then learn about world-building pillars. Next, we moved to world-building elements, what they are and how to build them, focusing on factions, locations, and events. Finally, we gave you a few guidelines to make sure the world-building process remains fun, efficient, and healthy. There are three main ideas that I want you to take away from this chapter. First, the world you build will serve as the foundation for your game. It will contain the setting in which you will tell a collaborative story with your players. You don't need to think about the details of your adventure when world building. We'll have plenty of time to do that in the next chapter. But if you have an idea for a story, you should let it inform your choices of pillars so that the foundation of the world accommodates the story that you want to tell. The second takeaway is that there are many world-building elements that you can develop, but you don't need all of them. Factions, locations, and events are enough to establish unique and interesting worlds. We encourage you to explore different elements like ecosystems, pantheons, or societies to enrich your world, but those aren't mandatory. So don't feel like you have to develop all of them. Instead, focus on the elements that excite you. Those will help you create better games. And that brings me to the last takeaway from this chapter, which is focus on what's fun and outsource the rest. If you don't enjoy developing something, then you probably won't enjoy using it. Instead, find inspiration elsewhere, or even take entire pillars or elements from other worlds. Trying to forcibly build everything on your own for the sake of a fully original world leads to overbuilding and burnout. Now, it's time to develop the world of your one-shot game. Yes, the same one you will have at the end of this course. Whether you plan to build a world from scratch or develop a pre-existing world, in this assignment you will define the world's pillars and how they are different from the classic D&D ones. You will also point out one shiny idea that you're excited about in your world. Finally, you will develop 5 to 10 world-building elements within that world. If you aren't certain which elements to develop, we suggest you start with one village, 2 other locations, 2 or 3 factions, and 1 important event. You can find all of this information at the end of Chapter 3 worksheet. And don't forget about the world building resource. It contains a checklist for world building and summaries of a lot of the things we've discussed throughout this chapter. When you're done with this assignment, share your world with us and your cohort on our Discord server. That way we can all enjoy your creativity and give you productive feedback. You can use the template that appears in the worksheet to arrange the post neatly. And guess what? You have officially completed Chapter 3 of the GM Bootcamp. Look at you, you're doing great. I can't wait to see all the worlds you're going to build. In the next chapter, we are going to head out into story design. We'll discuss topics like plot, premise, hooks, tension, conflict, and how to use all of them to create a compelling story with your players. See you then.